when they crossed railroads, when communication got better, when the ability of transportation got cheaper, when logistics and technologies to get things out there, and variety of choices became available, and alternative energies and everything else, then supply got easier. People have always wanted to have entertainment in their home, for instance, but it was difficult and expensive to supply entertainment to their home in the old days. New technologies, broadband, and so forth, it made it easier to bring entertainment straight to a person's home. Now, suppliers who have always wanted to meet demand are now able to do so at a low cost. So that's why you have stuff that you do in your home. So that's what we mean by supply. It's important that you know that it's not that some of those other things. Now, we think about this other thing. I'm going to give you an example. It's not just economics like this. Here's a activity I was involved with a few days ago. And here's some vocabulary words involved with that activity, and I'd like you to tell me what I was doing. Pocket, bank, combination, sink, break, cue.
Or you're playing pool.
I was playing pool. And you're like, oh yeah, when you're playing pool, a combination is when you use more than just the white ball into one of the colored balls. You're involving more in the shot. Bank is when you hit it off of the other side and things like that. And you say, like, if you play pool, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're sinking the ball in the pocket. And you're like, oh, but all those words mean something else. I thought you were talking about something else. Right, because you know the meaning of those words have other uses outside of pool. Inside of pool, they have very particular uses and understanding what it means. And same as in economics and every other field. We have a particular jargon. We use a lot of words that you might know of what other outside of economics. Use it in this class the way that we mean it as an economist does. Don't assume that it means the same thing as what you've always used, right? Say, oh, okay. Supply, demand, especially those things. Quantity demanded and so forth. So let's see, now these look like pretty good answers. Marginal utility per dollar, marginal utility, and diminishing marginal utility. Yeah, those are the answers. Nice job, Dante, right there. So those are the answers to 5, 6, and 7. Any questions about that? So you have the definitions and you're familiar with it. Very nice. Let me see, I saw some nice, sweet utility indifference curves here. Oh yeah, oh, that's not bad. Yeah. That's pretty good. All right, Edward, let's check out that. All right, so question was, and I was thinking, you could say any point. I notice a lot of people have any point. You kind of pulled that from the reading, and that's fine. I would say that no, there is no preference. No point are you preferable on the same indifference line, because it's all the same to you. It's the same amount of utility or happiness, regardless of which combination you did. So it's not like any point is preferable. It's no point is preferable. You with me? Well, I'll accept you because I know where you got the answer, but do you appreciate that that's what indifference means? There is no preference. Because if utilities remain the same at all points along the curve, a reduction in the quantity of the good on the vertical axis has to be counterbalanced by an increase in quantity of the good on the horizontal axis, and vice versa. Well said. And then we have a overachiever, you, Edward, put on 3 indifference curves. What we have is, we have we have y-axis and x-axis, and then we have something that's non-intersecting, convex to the origin, and has a curve like that. The other one that goes the other way, that's the production possibilities frontier. This is the indifference curve. Live and learn.
If you only put 2 lines on it, is that right?
If you put 2 lines on it, that's right. Edward there's an overachiever. Well done. Oops. Thank you. Very nice. Very nice. All right, now let's get into markets. Okay, market forces. Have your notebooks ready? Let's go. All right, so you're familiar with demand is desire. Demand schedule community demanded at different prices in a chart. Here's an example. All right. So we have, I'm just going to use Molly, but I won't use Molly since we have a Molly here. So we'll go with Caroline. Okay. Now Caroline likes salmon. So this is salmon. Okay. And when salmon is $8 a pound, Caroline will buy none of it because she thinks $8 a pound is too much to pay for salmon. But when it's $7 a pound, she'll buy 1 pound. When it's $6 a pound, she'll buy 2 pounds of it. When it's $5 a pound, she'll still buy 2 pounds of it. Not until it gets down to, say, $3 a pound does she decide to buy 4 pounds. Okay? And this is all the data we have. We've never seen salmon for less than $3 a pound, so we don't know what she would buy if it was less than $3 a pound. But we have seen her, what she does within those price ranges. And so that's Caroline's demand. This is how many pounds she'll buy at these various prices. So she seems like you might say that we would expect her to buy 2 pounds when she normally is shopping, unless there's a good deal and she'll buy more, like 4 pounds. And if it's too much, she won't buy it, even though she likes it. This dovetails very nicely into this marginal utility theory. We didn't talk too much about it in the way that I normally do because we were discussing some other things. But did you gather that marginal utility per dollar is how people make their decisions? Right? For instance, could we look at the market for iPhone 10 and say, all right, well, how much is the iPhone 10 selling for? $1,000. And $1,000 is a price that some people are willing to pay, and it's a price that other people are not willing to pay. Why are some people willing to pay it, and why are other people unwilling to pay it, is the same explanation. If you appreciate what economists are doing, is they're saying we have an explanation that explains both when people do something and when they don't, and it's all about their perceived marginal benefit against the perceived marginal cost. The way that an economist would explain the buying or not buying of an iPhone 10 is that both people, the ones that buy and the ones that don't, think about the value or marginal utility of the iPhone 10 to them, subjective value, divided by $1,000 is going to give them either a high number per dollar or a low number per dollar. So if you have a subjective value on the iPhone 10 that's low, then you don't think it's worth $1,000. You can think of something better to do with your money. You can get more utility from spending $1,000 in an alternative way. On the other hand, if your marginal utility from the iPhone 10 is very large, then dividing it by $1,000 still gives you a lot of bang for your buck, a lot of marginal utility per dollar. And so you do buy it. Certainly, if you heard someone say, hey, you ask them if they're going to buy the iPhone 10, and they're like, no, that's a piece of crap. Well, obviously their utility is very, very small. I doubt if they would pay anything for a piece of crap. You can get that for free. Right? Now, if you press them a little bit further, they might say, well, I'm going to wait for the price to come down. Now you know they don't really think it's a piece of crap. They just don't think it's worth $1,000. They think it's worth something less. If the price goes down far enough and their marginal utility stays the same, let's say you'd get 10,000 utils from the iPhone 10. Again, it's 10,000 utils. But if I got to pay $1,000 for it, I'm only getting 10 utils per dollar. I'm waiting until the price goes down to $500, then I get 20 utils per dollar. Because I'm going to get 10,000 utils divided by $500 instead of 10,000 utils divided by $1,000. Make sense? Obviously, people are not thinking about how many utils they get when they make the decision. I mean, like I do, but not really. I'm just kidding. None of us do it, but we act as though we do. And for this, I wanted to just bring us to because it gives us the shape of the demand curve, and this is why we do it. We can figure out whether someone likes this more than the other thing based upon how they behave faced with prices that are the same. Now, you often don't find that. Can you think of any example where you have a variety of things, all the same price, and you just decide what you like and what you don't?
Drinks.
All right, drinks are like that, right? So you watch people, and you can tell that they are Five Guys, right? Or any now the new soda machines and everything. So you buy a large, they give you the cup, and then you got all this variety, and you select what you would give you the greatest amount of marginal utility. You have hundreds of choices, so you select the thing that beats them all. You with me? And if you wanted to refill, are you going to get exactly the same thing? Well, probably not. Because there's a law of diminishing marginal utility. Chances are pretty good if you've already got the thing that you want and had enough of it, that even though you like it and it's your favorite, something else, a little different, might be what you have in mind for. Yes? Yes. It's called the law of diminishing marginal utility, and it means that everything succumbs to it. I like to watch people because I've spent a lot of time in hotels, and so there I am in a strange town. It's the morning, I'm getting ready to go, and I'm watching people, strangers, come off the elevator, and they head for the breakfast buffet. I also like to go to Chinese buffets, which is the same kind of thing. But the drinks are a good, excellent example. Thank you. Did I give you a card yet?
Oh, yeah.
Pop it on there. Okay. Can you all picture that? You're in the hotel, it's morning, you're watching strangers walk over to the breakfast buffet. This is a scenario. I don't know whether you feel comfortable watching strangers, especially in hotels. Maybe it takes a special kind of person to do that, but yeah. Let's just go with me on this, okay? So you tell me what this guy, here's this guy, the elevator opens up, he's coming down, he's not fully dressed yet. I mean, like, he's got enough on, but he's gonna be heading back to his room. He's heading to the breakfast buffet. What's he gonna go? What's he gonna get? Tell me.
Coffee.
Coffee, thank you. Which tells us that of all the things there, he thinks coffee is worth more than anything else to him. It's all free. You with me? Now, to your surprise, he does get coffee. I mean, no surprise, he gets coffee. He starts drinking the coffee. Does he sit down? Now that he's got his coffee, does he start looking around at other things in the breakfast buffet? Okay, and what's he go for?
A muffin.
Bagel, muffin, you're right. He's looking at the bagel, looking at the muffin. What he chooses will tell you which one he thinks has a higher marginal utility. The price is the same, so the bang for the buck is, well, the buck part of the denominator is the same here. It's the bang that's different, and we can tell what his preferences are at that moment based upon that. Now, maybe yesterday he chose something different because subjective value changes. That's what makes it so difficult. But we can track people, and we can kind of start to predict what he's going to do. I mean, if we watch this guy, if we had some way of tracking what he was doing at different times of the day and year and, and everything else, we'd probably get pretty good at guessing what he was going to do and how much he wanted. We could probably guess at how many pounds of salmon he was going to buy when we changed the price on it. And that's exactly what the grocery stores do. Tomorrow's the first of the month. And you'll see that things that were on sale a couple of days ago at the grocery stores are going to be full price tomorrow. Because you got a whole bunch of people coming in that have extra money and a high willingness to pay. And they have been going without something for the last couple of days because it was the end of the month. In January, especially with all the bills, it's a little tight. So the grocery store is saying, we're going to change our prices because prices that they were unwilling to pay a few days ago, they will be willing to pay tomorrow. And how do they know that? Because they're tracking in, and if you know anything about grocery shopping, you probably carry a card, and they know when you shop, what you buy with other things. So they know when you're paying with SNAP versus paying with WIC versus cash versus credit card versus debit card. They can tell how your buying behavior changes, what you buy when it's Saturday night versus Sunday afternoon, and all of this data they're able to collect, and all that data then they can analyze, and they can say, well, we have a pretty good idea what coupons to print up for you, so to see if we can get you to change and buy something that you haven't bought before. Right? Why do you get coupons for stuff you don't buy before? Because they know that you're going to buy the stuff you normally buy. We're giving you a coupon to see if you'll buy the other thing if you had to pay a little bit less. If we have two items here and you go, well, I like this item, but it's kind of expensive, so I'm going to buy product X instead because they're almost the same to me, and this one's cheaper, so my marginal utility is almost the same, and this one is considerably less, so I get more marginal utility per dollar from brand X than from the store brand, or a name brand. So they give you a coupon for name brand, which lowers this price down, so now they're the same price. You see what you do. If you respond to that and you say, oh, well, if they're the same price, I'm going to buy this, then they know that you get more utils for the thing they gave you a coupon for. Utils, I know, yes, it is fun. You get more utils, but you chose not to do it because the utils per dollar were disadvantageous. And they work those prices there. That demand curve is made up not of just one person, like Caroline here, but we'll add other people too. We'll put in John. And I don't know how John feels. When salmon is $8 a pound, he will buy a pound of it. At $7 a pound, he'll also still only buy a pound. He'll buy a pound when it's $6 a pound. When it's $5 a pound, he'll still only buy one. And when it's $3 a pound, he'll buy 8 pounds. So basically, John lives by himself, and he only wants a pound of salmon, but when it's a really great deal, he'll give it to his cats. We know what kind of coupons to print up for John, what kind of direct mailings to give to John, what sort of things to send him on his Facebook profile, what sort of things we can do to take care of John. In a way, it's creepy and invasive, and on the other hand, it's like people get exactly what they want when they want it for a price they're willing to pay, which, in a way, is very nice. If it was like your best friend, the fact that it's a stranger that knows that much about you is the creepy part. Right? So then we'll put another one together. We'll add one more so we get this. We'll say, give me a name, Bob. Okay. So Bob, he's willing to pay a pound. He's willing to buy 1 when it's 8 pounds. When it's 7, he's willing to buy 2. 6, he's willing to pay 3. 5, 4, and then 3 pounds, he's willing to buy 6 pounds. Okay. So it's just a kind of a curve. And what we see here is kind of a break point around at the $3 a pound level. There seems to be some kind of break. So then if we added that together, we'd have what's called the market. The market demand curve is made up of the schedules for all these people. So at $8 a pound, there's going to be 2 pounds sold. See, because 0 plus 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 plus 1 and 2 is 4. Jen, you would have had this finished already. I'm so quick. And here we have 18. Okay? And that is what we mean by a demand schedule.